Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute since I have sat down in my house and like talked to camera. So, hello, welcome. If you are new here, my name is Becky. I am a festival and makeup content creator here on YouTube. Lifestyle as well. Just like I like to share what I want to share with you guys. It mostly revolves around raves and festivals and music, but sometimes I share other stuff that I really like a lotion that I really love, or like a perfume or something like that. So stick around. I hope you like my content. Subscribe, turn on the little notification bell, because I try to post once a week, but that hasn't happened in a while, so I try my best. Click the little notification bell so that you can know when I'm uploading a video. But in today's video, we are going to talk about Outside Lands. I'm going to give you my full thoughts, review, everything that happened when we went, and do we like it, do we hate it, all that good stuff. So if you are interested in finding out what I thought about Outside Lands, then go ahead and stick around. We're gonna get into it right now. I have my notes in front of me, so stick around. And yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. So let's get into it. I'm gonna do this pretty similar to how I did my North Coast review, which is similar to how like EDM Maniac, yes, does their reviews. They have like their festival report cards on their Instagram. So I'm going to do it pretty similar to that in like the way that I'm going to go through each category. We are going to start first with the vibes, the music, the production, the venue, food, merch, security, COVID screenings, transportation, and then overall. And if you know that I live super close, I didn't really do any of the transportation stuff. Like I didn't have to experience it, but I have done it in the past, and I just like generally, like I live in San Francisco, so I know what like the transportation situation is around here. So we're gonna talk about all of that. But yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right in and start with the fucking vibes, okay? And I'm gonna say this, I fucking loved the vibes. Like, it was all around such a great festival. Like, we didn't encounter like anybody who was like rude or like in our space or like that, really. Like there was like maybe like one instance that's like one guy was like hella shoving while we were like at the front of the stage at in the SOMA tent at one point, but like outside of that, like we had like no issues. Like everyone was super friendly, everyone was having so much fun. Like I think honestly, like the fact that it was during Halloween weekend, like it brought a certain like relaxed vibe to this festival that I think was really, like, I fully appreciated it. Like I loved it. It was really fun. Like there wasn't really anybody who was like standoffish or like rude. Like it was just like an all around like great vibes festival from like the moment you walked in to like different stages that you were at. Like sometimes I can feel like at a certain festival, like sometimes when you get to like main stage, there's more of like jerks around for some reason, but then when you're at like smaller stages, like people are nicer. But I didn't have that here. Like every stage was great, everyone was super nice, like the people, the staff were nice, like the people who were vendors were nice, like food vendors and stuff, and like it was just all around like very great vibes. So I'm gonna give it an A+ for the motherfucking vibes, because it was so good. Like even my boyfriend like said that he kind of was expecting it to be like kind of shitty vibes or like shitty people. I don't know, like sometimes it can be really hit or miss with like a crowd like in the city at like a music event, so I get that. But he was like also surprised at how like nice and friendly everyone was. So it was all around really great vibes. I think another reason why I absolutely loved it was like the people who I went with were amazing and like brought great vibes. Like I also think that like the group that you go with dictates like how you're gonna have, how much of a good time you're gonna have at a festival. And I had great people with me. Like I fucking love my friends, so I had an amazing time. And yeah, let's like jump into like security next, because I think that like kind of had something to do with it. I think also overall, I'm going to touch on this, that Outside Lands is in all ages. So like it's not like most other festivals where it's like 18 and up or 21 and up. I feel like there aren't really any that are 21 and up these days, but like 18 and up is usually the standard. But like Outside Lands is very much like your family festival, if you will, especially in San Francisco. Like there was lots of babies around, there was little children around, not like throughout the day. Like I think it was more like during the beginning parts of like the earlier times when you get there, like maybe like around like when they like doors open, or like 12, 1, 2. And then I definitely saw some that were still there like for like Tame Impala or like the Strokes, like when it was like the last one of the night. So like around, what is that, like 9:30, 10 p.m, because the festival doesn't go till midnight, it stops around that time. And I don't know, I kind of assumed that it would bring in like a different kind of vibe, but everyone was just like super chill, relaxed. Like it wasn't, people weren't like over intoxicated anywhere or like blatantly on anything. Like it was really nice. I think people kept it pretty together. I don't know if that is because it's an all ages event and so people just hold it together a little bit better because like families are around, or what. Not that there's like a ton of families, but like they're still around. Like you still like walk by and you're like, oh my god, a baby, you know. I feel like I might have like said it here and there in my vlogs and like pointed it out. But yeah, I think that like also kind of plays into like the vibes of the event and why it was so like chill. But yeah, let's get into security. So getting into the festival was literally a breeze. First of all, I live so close, like it's literally across the street for me. So like there was no transit time for us outside of like physically walking to the entrance, which is like a block down from like where I live, or like 2 or 3 blocks down from where I live. So getting in was honestly a breeze. Like they did the Clear app for checking your vaccination or negative COVID testing, so I think that honestly made it even faster. I've been to a couple other events now since then. At Bill Graham for 7 Lions I went, and then there was another event that I went to as well. And we just like go in with the Clear app and you see the like green screen and like you get through. It's like super easy. I will say though, like generally, like outside of the first day, past the first day, and even on the first day, we got there pretty late. We got there around like 4. So they like checked pretty thoroughly the first day, and then like the next couple days, like it was kind of lax. But they were like looking for if you had a wristband, like they were giving out like vaccine check wristbands. So they were like checking for that, and like you still had to have your Clear app open. So like it wasn't totally like they were just like letting in people without looking. Like they still had people looking, and they were looking for like green screens and stuff. So that made me feel better. But generally, like there was still like no like security. Like you'd get through the health check first, right? And then after the health check there was like the security lines. But I really just like walked through a metal detector and nobody touched my person or like went through my shit, which like I personally like I don't really like when like you have to sit there and they're like really digging through like all your shit, you know. So that was nice. Like they're obviously like metal detectors and stuff, like they're looking for weapons, but like it was such a breeze. Like I swear to you, the first day we made it in like 5 minutes, like through all the lines and like security and stuff. Like I was in the festival in like under 15 minutes, like every single day, which was so nice because you just like there was no stress to like get in and like get to the sets that you wanted to see, or like get around to like the stuff that you wanted to do. Like it was very easy breezy, lemon squeezy, you know. So I really appreciate that about Outside Lands. I don't know if it's been like that every year. Like the last year that I had gone, and I had only gone 1 day, was in 2017. So like that was so long ago, and even that time, the 1 day that I got there, like I got there pretty late. Like I want to say around like 3 or 4 the same time. So honestly, even back then, I feel like I didn't have like, back then I was not the type to like take a hydration pack with me or like be super prepared. It was kind of just like me in like a small purse or something. So yeah, like I feel like it's always kind of just been easy to like get into outside lands. I may be wrong about that. Again, I'm going to just speak from my experience, and my experience was very easy, very like simple going through. I think on the 3rd day, Moselle got like pulled aside from security or something, and it was just because her like battery charger for the phone like went off on the metal detector. But like even then they like didn't really like do much. They were just kind of like, oh, like what could it have been? And she was like, maybe my phone charger. And they were like, oh yeah, go ahead. So it was like pretty easy breezy, like people weren't rude or like in your face. So that was really nice. I appreciate that about their security. That's that on that. Security was great. I give security like an A, I don't know, non-existent. It was great. Well, not non-existent, like they were still there, but like nobody haggled us, and like it wasn't, nobody gave us a hard time. So it was really nice. And I've experienced before that people will haggle you or like be inconsistent, like some people will go after and other people they won't. So like it was nice to just like have an overall very easy and nice entrance to the festival. From there, let's talk about music. So honestly, the lineup was fire. I loved the lineup. I feel like, again, this is a multi-genre festival, so like if that's not your vibe, then like you're probably not gonna like outside lands. I'm just gonna put that out there. But I personally love that it's like multi-genre. They give you a little bit of indie, you get a little bit of rock sometimes. You can have like Reggie Watts, I think that's his name, Reggie Watts, like people like that. Like it's like very all over the place. You have like Marky Basie, and then you've got like Rico Nasty, and then you've got the Strokes. Like it's very much like a multi-genre festival. So I like that about that. I like that you can like kind of jump around from like vibe to vibe, like different, get a different feel for like a different genre, and like it not be just all EDM. Like I like love EDC for the fact that it's all EDM and it's different genres of EDM, but that's also why I appreciate like a multi-genre festival, because you can kind of like bounce around to like a different vibe. It's very nice. I also think that they do set up the like lineup and the stages in a way where like there's multiple main stages at different times of the day. So like if you didn't want to see as your headliner for the night like Lizzo, like somebody who's like a pop, like not even pop, but like rap and like hip hop kind of vibe as your main event, like you can do that because there's a stage for it. Or you can go and watch like a live band like the Strokes and go to main stage and like get that, you know what I mean? So like they kind of cater to everybody, and I really enjoy that about outside lands. I think overall every single set that I saw was great set. Like nobody disappointed me at all. And I would say, like, I did make a comment on this in my vlogs of like the sound was kind of like hard to hear on the first day at main stage, but like I didn't have that problem like on day 2 or 3. Like we figured out like the best places to stand where you got the music and like where the speakers were, and like it sounded great. The first day, like the Strokes were hella bitchin', like the main guy was like hella bitchin' about the sound too, and how like he felt like it was really like quiet. So like the musician pointed it out as well, but they seem to have figured it out by like day 2 and 3, and everything was fine. I've also heard from other people who like go every year that like you either have to be at the front of main stage or you have to be like towards the back and like in a good section to like get the music right, and I feel like that is kind of how it is, but like once you figure that out and you're standing in the right place, you have a great time, you hear the music, whatever. So I give music an A+ as well. Like I freaking loved it. I saw so many artists that I've never seen before, or was seeing for the first time live, and like ones that I love like a lot, like Rufus Du Sol, this was the first time I've like actually seen him live. Like, I've loved his music for a very long time, never got the chance to see him live, and then I got to see him live like in my backyard, so it was like fucking great. So yeah, I loved it. This kind of goes into production a little bit, so we'll move on. Production, I'm gonna say I give it like a B, and that's just because like I feel like their production hasn't gotten worse, but it also hasn't like, it's not like EDC where like every year it gets better and better and bigger, and like there's more lights and interactive stuff, and like it's not that kind of an event. So I give them the benefit of the doubt in that way, because that's not like what they're going for. But like I also wasn't disappointed. Like, they have big enough screens on each stage to like be able to see whatever the visuals are that the artist has, but there aren't like they don't really change up the way that their stages look. Like, they're not like themed stages outside of like that they're named different things. Like, one's Twin Peaks, one's Land's End, Sutro Stage, SOMA Tent. Like, they're all like themed around the city, but like they're just a stage. It just says like Twin Peaks, or like Land's End has the more like done up where it has like the bridge on it. But like outside of that, like their production in that way, there's nothing that's like EDC level, which like you can't even really compare the two, but like I'd love to see them do something different for a change. Cause yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same every year. Like, the way that I remember the stage of Twin Peaks from when I went in 2017 is exactly the same as when I went in 2021. Like, they're the same stage, like nothing has changed, which I appreciate about it, but I'm also just kind of like, I'd love to see something else. Like, I definitely don't think that they have like a ton of lasers or like a ton of like anything that's like just really like blows you away, I guess, like in that sense. And maybe that's what I'm looking for here, but like there's also nothing wrong with it. So anyways, you get what I'm saying. I'm kind of blabbering on and like talking in circles right now, but I give production a B. Nothing was like horrible about it, nothing like let me down. Every once in a while maybe the sound was like a little off, or like somebody's mic like did something weird, but like outside of that, like flawless. Like, I loved it. The SOMA tent was super cool too. Like, all the lasers in there were really nice. I think that's kind of where they like spend their production money, if you will, is because it's like inside of a tent maybe. But like, I don't know, I would love to see that tent be like 5 times bigger, but we'll get to that. So yeah, that's that on the production. Let's move into venue. Venue is literally, like, if you've ever been to San Francisco, it's literally inside of Golden Gate Park. It's towards the part that's like closer to Ocean Beach, so like further away from like the Academy of Sciences or the De Young Museum or anything like that. Like, it's more down in the Richmond district, Sunset district, closer to the Ocean Beach area, and it's literally just like open park space with like, it's very hilly. Like, there's lots of ups and downs. It's muddy as fuck because like you're literally just on like grass and like dirt, and there's little pieces of concrete every now and then, but it's mostly just like dirt, and like it gives you like a kind of like you're in the woods kind of vibe, but like you're literally in a park in a city. So like, yeah, overall the venue, I give it like a B plus A minus, and I think I give it such a high rating or like grade because I'm from San Francisco. I've been here so long and I appreciate the park for what it is, and I do like that it's in the park versus like in a venue or like in a warehouse or like on the pier or like, you know, like anything like that. Like, I appreciate that they've chosen to have it in Golden Gate Park. I think it's a great place for it. Maybe one day it'd be kind of cool if they did it in the Presidio, but I don't know that it's necessarily built as well in the Presidio for this type of event. I think you get a good enough variety by having it in the park, and like the park itself has different parks inside of the park. Like, there's like there's like Hollow Meadow or like something like that. Like they're all like named different little parks because they're little sectioned off, and so it works because that's like the different sections and where you have the different stages, if that makes sense. Like maybe I'll try and put up a picture of like the map here, but like the way that it's sectioned off in like the little parks that are inside of the park, it makes it easy to like navigate and get around. It's very hilly. Like I think we did like over 20,000 steps in the weekend, and like yeah, you can just like get around very easily. It's just very muddy, very gravelly, and like the roots come up. I mentioned this in my blog, but like roots come up, so you're like tripping a little bit over like just roots and stuff like that. But like if you're prepared for it, then like it's a great time. It's like a day in the park, you know? So I personally really like it. I also really, again, love that it was in October because like the weather was just so good in the city. Like the fall in the city is like the best time for it because it's not too, like when it gets dark, it doesn't get like as misty and foggy as it does in like when they do have it in August. Like it still gets pretty misty and cold and like almost feels like it's raining because of the like condensation coming off of the trees. So I personally really love it being in the park. Do I think they need more space still? Yes. But I, all in all, like, don't hate it. I love it. I think there's lots to do in the park. It has just enough room to like have so many different things that you can go to and like have it be far enough apart. There's no nosebleed problems. Like it's great. I fucking love that it's in Golden Gate Park. Now let's talk about food. Food there is literally amazing, like A+. A+, because there's so much of like the city food that like ends up in this festival and it's fucking good. Like I think one day we had like goose fat fries or something like that. Literally they were so good. I think they had like garlic on them as well. They were such good fries. Like, is it kind of expensive? Yes, not gonna lie, but like the city is expensive, so like what do you expect? Like that's kind of how I go into it a little bit. I think like drink prices were like pretty reasonable. I don't know, I didn't drink it at this event, so I don't really have much to go off of there. But they have like a variety. Like if they have beer lands, like literally a dedicated area for like a bunch of beer, and like you can discover different kinds of beer. They have a wine lands, like literally just all kinds of different wine that you can try. I'm still mad that I never got to it. Like I never got to like go in and like get myself a glass of wine. I was like running around from stage to stage and like there for the music, so like I didn't really get to experience the food and the wine and like everything else that they had to offer. Like I didn't even make it to Greenlands. Like I literally never even made it there, which like I'm mad at myself about. Lesson learned there, but like I would have loved to have gone to Greenlands and like experienced it and like seen what all they had there. Although my boyfriend did make a good point that like during COVID, I bet it's like it's not the same experience as like when there isn't COVID. In like maybe they have like some dabs that you can take or like do different kinds of stuff there that like you can't necessarily do if like you have to wear a mask like in that area, or like you can't really like sample anything because like COVID. So like who knows, maybe that'll be different like next year or something, hopefully. I don't know, this panorama got us still figuring it out like 2 years later, but like anyways, that's something that I would have loved to have spent more time at and like gotten to experience, and I just never got around to it. But they have so much to choose from food wise. Like they had like fried chicken, like there's just so much food there. Like fried chicken, they had lobster rolls, I had sopas one day. Literally they were so good. I swear to God, that like pulled pork that was on there was melt in your mouth good. Like those fries melt in your mouth good. Like it was like such good little bites that I did have here and there. I would have loved to have had more, but like generally the lines were pretty long and we were running from like one place to another. I will say though, like you had different areas that you could go to get food. So like while some of the lines were long, like you didn't have to stay at that one section or that one area to get the food. Like you could have gone to another area, there would have still been a line, but like you had so much variety to choose from that like it was fucking perfect. Like I feel like I've not been to, outside of like EDC, I feel like I've not been to a festival where they have such a variety of options for you to choose from for food. I'm pretty sure they had like vegan options. Like I'm not a vegan, so I can't like talk to it, but literally at each stage they had like different areas that you could like walk just like not that far from that stage, go and get food or drinks, and then go back to that same stage. So like realistically, if you were like gonna spend like 2 sets back to back at Twin Peaks, they always had like a break in between the artists, and you could go get food and like still be close enough to like hear the next artist while they're going on if you were still waiting for your food to come out, you know what I mean? And you could then eat it at the stage and like have enough room to like eat and not be like have elbows in your face like while you're trying to eat. So generally it was very nice. There's also like, depending on which area you were in, like if you were by the Sutro stage and like you walked like the opposite direction, I don't know what the name of the other stage is that was like across from it, but like let's say you were there like in between one of those 2 stages, like they had wine lands and like a bunch of different food there, as well as like benches that you could sit at and eat your food. So like let's say you wanted to like sit down and like eat, you could totally choose to like go to that area to eat food and like listen to whatever music was around you, and then go back to like main stage or go back to Twin Peaks or go back to like another stage. Like you just had so much variety and options. Yeah, seriously, cop. Anyways, there's just so much variety around there. Like it's not just like a multi-genre festival, but like it's a multi-experience festival, which I really love about Outside Lands. So 10 out of 10, y'all's killed it. Like the food was great. I wish I had more time to experience all of it. Like honestly, like my biggest lesson learned from Outside Lands is get there fucking early. Like don't, like yes, like I could, like I loved the fact that I could like waltz on in at like 3 and like I didn't really miss that much time trying to get there because it took me like under 15 minutes to get inside the festival, even if I got there at 3:30, you know what I mean? But I think my lesson learned, like the day that we got to experience the most were the days where we went in earlier. And honestly, like if I go next year, which like we'll see if I'm still in San Francisco or not, but like I would love to go even if I wasn't in San Francisco. I don't know, we'll see. But for next year, like my thing is gonna be like I'm gonna get there as close to doors open as fucking possible, because I want to have more food, have the wine, want to get to Greenlands. Like I want to like get to everything. Like as much as like Golden Gate Park is big, it's also not that big, and like the area that they use is like I walk that, like not daily, but like when I do go for like a walk in the park, like I walk what the entire festival grounds is. And so it's not that far and like apart from each other, but it is still like hard to get around to everything during a festival, especially when like you're going for the music, you know? So I would love to get to go again and like experience way more of the food and vendors and like see all the different things, because like they even had like a Casa Bacardi. It was like by main stage, but like every time I was at main stage, I was there for like an artist that I hadn't gotten to see before. So my main focus was to go and like see the artist versus like go and like mosey around Casa Bacardi, for example. But they had so, like it looked so cool. There was so much to do there. They had little like different tents that you could like go in and they were themed. Like there was so much to do there that like I'm mad at myself for not getting the time to like go and experience all of it. Something that I will not skip on next time that I do go. The next thing that we will talk about is merch. I didn't get to actually go to a freaking tent the entire time that we were there. Like I walked up to a tent one on, I think it was like night 2 or something, and I just wanted to go up to the tent as we were leaving to look at what they had like up, right? This is the one instance where like security or like the people working there were kind of just rude. Was they didn't even let me, like, they were kind of like standing in front of it, and like I totally get it, like you're closing, like people are leaving the event, you don't want people like making lines at the merch tent to like look at the things that are there. But I just wanted to finally see like what they had and what was like displayed really quickly, and then like keep going. And the people who were there got all up in my face and started kind of like being really rude, honestly, and just being like, you can check it out tomorrow, it'll all be here tomorrow, and like all up in my face. And I was like, cool, tomorrow I'll stop by if like I finally get the chance to, but like this was me finally getting the chance to just like see what was there. I just wanted to get a little bit closer. So that was unnecessary, honestly. Like I was not like coming at them or like running up to the tent or like anything. I was just kind of like coming up there, and I asked politely like, could I get a little bit closer, and they were got up all in my face. So that was the one instance where I was like, that was unneeded. But because of that instance, I didn't really get to see what all they had to offer in the merch tent, because I never really got, outside of that one time, the time to actually go by and like look and see what was there and see what I wanted to buy or like go out of my way for the next day to buy. I did notice from afar that they had like really big blankets that were like great to like sit down on and all that kind of stuff, although it was so muddy at Outside Lands that even if I had gotten it, I wouldn't have wanted to put it down in the mud. But that's just me. Overall though, they looked like really high quality, like nice blankets that like you can use for like picnics and stuff. But then outside of that, like I didn't really get to see anything else. Like I couldn't get close enough to like see what the t-shirts were like or the jackets. I looked at them the other day online to just see like what else they like still had in stock. They had like pins, stickers, like bomber jackets, like they had really cute stuff. I just would have loved to have been able to like actually go out of my way to like see it all in person. I just didn't have the time to outside of that one instance. But it seemed like they had a really great variety. Curly Cami like went one day earlier than like the rest of our group. She went in, she was looking for a pashmina, and they did not carry pashminas. So like, I don't know, maybe because it is like, it's a very like city, like it's not like a festival where like you have pashminas, I guess. But I don't know, I was a little surprised that they didn't have any pashminas like at all like in there. So I would have loved to see a pashmina, but like outside of that, whatever. That's just because like, you know, people like me love pashminas and cami clearly, but they seem to have had some good stuff. I feel like they had a ton of like little shops in the area between like right before you got to main stage. Like there was like a whole area, like a bunch of different things, like food, merchant like stuff, and then merchandise, and then they had all those like little like Casa Cardi, or they had some other little area where like straight up was like another they had like a DJ and stuff. Like it was really cool. But yeah, overall I will give their merch an A. Like it seemed like they had a pretty wide variety of like tastes for you. Like you could get a regular t-shirt, or you could get something that's like very hipster, if you will. Like I feel like that's like the vibe of Outside Lands in general, is kind of like a hipster vibe. But yeah, so that was all great. Transportation, again, I walked home. Transportation was easy breezy for me because it was my two legs, you know. So I got home really fast, like within 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the festival ending. Like we were outside and walking home, like through the crowd and stuff, and then we were back home undressed and like cozy as fuck. I don't know, if you saw my day 2 vlog, you would see like that rush of people that just like crowd the street. Welcome to Outside Lands, where we just stormed the street to get out of here.
Oh my god, literally marching.
It's a fucking madhouse.
Look at that fucking intersection, yo.
Look at this.
Oh my god.
Like there's a lot of people who are trying to get buses and Ubers and all that stuff. I will say, like, some of my friends who came over to my house to wait out the Uber situation, like they had to wait quite a while for it to like get down to like an affordable price. So like keep that in mind. Like they were definitely up in the hundreds of dollars to get like a mile and a half away from the venue. So there's that on that. But you have options. Like you can literally walk home. Like if you live like within 10 blocks from here, like you can walk. Or like if your hotel is within 10 blocks, like in any direction, like you can walk. So like it really depends on like how well you've planned where you're staying for outside lands. Like if you're in downtown in one of those like big hotels in like Union Square or something, it's gonna take you a while to get home, 1. 2, it's probably gonna be expensive if you don't take the bus. And 3, even if you do take the bus, it will be crowded. Like you're just gonna have to like be okay with that. Or you can plan a little bit better and like stay closer to where outside lands is if you can afford that, and if you can't do that, and then you can like walk most of the way home and then get an Uber, or like walk quite a few miles away from the venue and then get an Uber, or then get on a bus. Like you have options, which I think is something that you don't get when you're like how I was at North Coast, where like the only way that we could get back to our hotel, even though it was like 10 minutes away, was by Uber. And we had to wait like 3 or 4 hours to try and even get an Uber. So like while the city, you could experience the same thing if you were doing an Uber, you also had options to like get home in a different way if you really wanted to. You just like had to be smart about it, you know, and like plan ahead. So like, am I gonna get on the bus? Cool. Do I need to walk 3 or 4 blocks in like a certain direction to get on the bus and like make sure that I make it on the bus instead of like trying to get the next one, you know? So you had options. So I like that about outside lands. Again, like I live here, so it wasn't as big of a deal for me like transportation wise. I'm sure there are other people who have different stories out there on it being shitty or really great because of the bus situation or Uber or whatever. So I'm just putting that out there so that if you are thinking of ever coming to this festival, you keep in mind that you can have different modes of transportation to get to and from the event. I think that is everything that I have for you guys for my Outside Lands review. The one thing, oh, we haven't talked about the SOMA Tent. We have not talked about the SOMA Tent. We need to talk about the SOMA Tent. The SOMA Tent needs to be bigger than it is, period. I remember the SOMA Tent from like in 2017, and I'm almost positive that it has not gotten bigger at all. I get like, I don't know, it was more so a problem because of the capacity like thing with everybody wearing masks, and then on day 2 they like had double the capacity inside of the tent than they were supposed to, and then they have a fire lane that goes in between like getting to the tent. Like there's a fire lane there, so they have to keep that clear, and so it was not good. Like especially with all the like Travis Scott stuff that just happened with Astroworld, like the planning around knowing that you're gonna have a big name, house name of a DJ in that tent, it's too small for them, period. Like putting Walker and Royce in that tent was maybe not the best thing. Like they maybe should have been at Twin Peaks instead. I get that like the tent brought a vibe to it, like I totally get that. Like seeing LPGOB in that tent was like perfect. Like she needed to be in that tent because that's the vibe. But also like if you have a name like Walker and Royce in that tent, people want to see them, and like it's too small. So I personally think, as well as a few other people who were part of my group and like in general, the tent needs to get bigger. That whole space where they have the tent, if they can just extend the tent a little bit more, you can fit more people in, first of all. Second of all, they should have let more people stand in line on the other side of the fire lane, so that people on the other side of the fire lane, where we're all like crowding to try and get in, aren't squeezed up against these fences, and then all the people who can't hear or see what's going on in front of them can't, like, they just keep pushing forward. So there's that on that. I think they need to like make that a little bit better. This third day, like the next day after that, they kind of did, they like had a specific area where you had to go behind like these like gates and stuff, and then there was like a single file, like they made you get into a single file versus like just crowding to one area. But they should have just like had that all 3 days versus like, oh, this happened and then let me fix it. So I think the planning around how you get to that tent, as well as the fact that that tent just needs to be bigger if you're gonna have really big names in that tent for these events, I think it needs to be bigger. Like, you need a bigger tent, like get a bigger tent. That's it. That's all. That's my one bad feedback about the whole weekend. Is like, 1, Land's End, the sound was a little off the first day. They fixed it, it's fine. And then 2, getting into that SOMA tent. Okay, people were legit like pushing up against us. Like, I was at the front of like where the fence thing is, and like trying to get in, like they were just it was a mess. Like, they made the little area where you could like get through like really tiny. People were literally squeezing into each other. Like, at one point I almost lost my phone because it was in my hand, which was bad on me, but like it was in my hand, and people were just like pushing and shoving, and like I almost lost it. Secondly, my ribs were like all up on that fucking fence, like from people pushing, and it was just like not good. By the time I got through anyways, like it didn't even matter. Like, I don't know, whatever. It was just kind of, it was messy, and it needed to have been a little bit more put together. And then they brought in like police, but like the police weren't really doing anything anyways. They were just kind of letting people in through anyways. So like, it was all around just like not that great of an experience there. It also shouldn't take 2 hours for you to get into a tent to see an artist. Like, I get the whole like capping for coronavirus, like the amount of people that are inside of an area, but it was also like, it was clearly just not enough, not a big enough area for them to have it in the first place. So like, make the tent bigger, maybe like figure out a different way for you to get in and out of that area that's around the fire lane better. Like, something there needs to change. I don't know, I'm not an event organizer or planner or something, but like, I can't make those suggestions that well, but like, it needs to just kind of be a little bit better. Anyways, outside of that, all around, had an amazing time. I loved the vibes. I 1000% think that they need to keep doing it in October, or like maybe every other year they do it in October, and it's like a Halloween festival. I feel like it brought a really good crowd, a really different vibe. Everyone was just having so much fun. People were dressed up. It was like all around an amazing experience, and the weather was so good to us, like, which is hard to get by here in the city. So like, I really do think that they should move it to October. They clearly already announced the dates for next year, and it's going to be in August, but like, if anybody who puts on Outside Lands is watching my video, please consider moving it to October, because a lot of people really enjoyed that, and the fact that you got to dress up for it, like, it was just so much fun. So like, maybe it's not every year, but maybe like every other year you guys do it as a Halloween festival, because that was a lot of fun. Great vibes, great weather. Like, that time of year is honestly better than like August, especially once the sun goes down. Like, it was just way better weather than in the end of August, to be honest. But yeah, that's all that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this festival review. If you are ever thinking of going to a multi-genre festival, if that's your vibe, I highly suggest Outside Lands. Also, just like in general, like, keep in mind that it's a city family festival, so like, it's not gonna be like an EDC or like any Insomniac festival that gets put on. it's not, I feel like it's different than Lollapalooza in that it's not as large, I believe. I've never been to Lollapalooza, but like from what I can see, like it doesn't seem like it's as big as that. And yeah, it's like a neighborhood festival. Like that's the vibe. Like I live in this neighborhood. I've lived in this neighborhood for the last 5 years now. Like it's very much like a neighborhood backyard festival, and I loved that about it. So if there's ever a lineup that intrigues you and you want to try it out, I highly recommend going. But yeah, that's all that I have to say. I will see you guys in my next video. Leave me some suggestions down below on anything that you guys want to see, because I'm in a rut right now, okay? I don't know what to put out there for you guys. If you are new here, subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and then I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
He said one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you